Hello, I'm Dr. Katherine Horton. I'm being shot at really brutally, and essentially if you wait for long enough there'll be such a massive shot to my head. It's insane. There you go. This is what's being done to me. These are the shots being fired into my head. My head is burning from the inside. This is essentially microwave lobotomy. And you just heard it turn on, basically. This is just a continuous beam. Can you hear? This is now really loud. You can see the red light came on because this thing is challenged. And my head is being shot to pieces, essentially. I feel so ill. You can see on my face the many times they have... Can you hear how the tones are changing of this thing as they are scanning my brain and essentially doing microwave lobotomy? The red light came on again. This thing is just being challenged, and I've never heard this thing so loud. So essentially up here my head is now burning. It's green here. And here's the beam. Green. Well, apart from the shot being fired. And green here. One beam. Somewhere here, second beam. So beam is here. And the second beam is somewhere here. Here. Or maybe that's the one that goes straight through my brain, I don't know. But you just heard this turn on. I have to flee the room. This is just unbelievable, basically. I have to flee the room. But you can see I'm not wearing any makeup, and people have been commenting, oh, why don't you put on makeup to, you know, to make yourself look artificially like actually attacked, because you don't look like you're suffering enough. Well, I can show you. These are all the lesions when they drilled pencil beams into my face, trying to read out my mind. Can you see that? So this is what I look like when I don't have really thick makeup to try to cover up what a horrific abuse victim I actually am. I can turn on the lights so that you can actually see me. So this is what I look like normally. Well, normally means, you know, if I'm not trying to hide the fact that I've been abused by the BND non-stop. I've just had a shower, so my hair is wet. I'm sorry, I look like even bigger a mess. What you just saw was just essentially abuse up here. So usually the radiation level should be just down here. The flashes you see are painful flashes being fired into my brain. It's essentially microwave lobotomy. sorry, I mean, if you have these, how to block out the camera. So can you see my face? Right, this is what it looks like to be an abuse victim. In all these Dr. Mengele types experiments, they're drilling pencil beams into your skull, and wherever they drill the pencil beams in, you basically get these lesions because your tissue gets cooked. So it at first feels like a spot, but it's not. It's actually just your skin being cooked microscopically. But what you can see, essentially these flashes, is them frying microwave beams into my skull. It's agonizingly painful. My brain is on fire after I had this all morning, and they just keep going. Essentially here you can see this little red light that just came on. It means that this little device is overloaded because there's so many frequencies being fired at the same time, and this frequency the range is quite large. This is the EM Fields Acousticom 2, the electro-smog detector, 200 megahertz to 8 gigahertz. And my head is already burning because essentially they are just out to just demolish my head as quickly as they possibly can, so that I cannot go back to the High Court and actually complain about this. This is neurological Totalzersetzung. Today is Christmas. This is Christmas Day in Germany, the 24th of December 2016, and I am being essentially tortured to death by degenerate psychopaths in the BND and the so-called German intelligence agencies. The last thing these men have got is intelligence. They are essentially just out, and they have picked me and my family because we are German citizens, but we have fled to Germany. We are Germans from Siebenbürgen, and they're essentially just shooting my brain to pieces because essentially, I don't know why, it's partially for the Human Brain Project to find out how to rewire brains, but I don't think it is even that. I think it is just psychopaths out using these microwave weapons to shoot people to pieces. 70% of the victims are women. A lot of them are single moms. This has got nothing to do with statesmanship or killing of dissidents. This is just classical psychopath men running around mutilating women and sexually arousing themselves through the mutilation. This is what the BND is. This is the truth. I think on paper they do some experiments for the Human Brain Project, and they do use fancy tech, but frankly, from what sounds like victim testimonies of MI5 and MI6, we already know they had this technology for ages. This is now not about that. It is just literally these degenerate men running amok, and Dr. Bruno Karl being either so incompetent or so corrupt that he cannot control his own men. Even though it's public now, the BND is essentially the Gestapo. They have hired the people from the Stasi, and they are now running amok. These people are just degenerate. It has nothing to do with national security. It is just psychopathic men running amok. My head is cooking. Shots are being fired into it from all these different angles, as you just seen. I will go downstairs now because I just cannot, did you see these shots just now? So when it's like here, the lower one is 0.01, this should be on green here. So the Wi-Fi is off, my laptop Wi-Fi is off, there's nothing up here. But you can keep seeing these ginormous shots being fired into my brain there. And the stuff that sounds really rough is extremely painful because it's these high power microwave pulses being shot in, and the actual change in frequency. So you saw one shot all the way up to 6, and from 0.001, which is down, 0.01 to 6.00, it's a factor of 600. So you saw it go green a couple of times, and this green is 0.02. So from here to the top is a factor of 300, but from the bottom it's a factor of 600. So this shot that you just saw jump up, that was a shot factor 600. That is a microwave pulse, a high intensity electromagnetic pulse being fired into my head. This red light means this little device is challenged by the amount of information. These are high, this was a series of pulses into my brain, and this is essentially just non-stop microwave lobotomy. The pencil beam, as I discovered, is about the size of a pound coin or a euro coin, but the actual beam peak inside, there will be a beam profile. The beam peak might be just a millimeter or something like that. This is causing me agonizingly painful headaches. Your head feels like it's burning up from the inside, because it is. At night I had, popping sounds. What they also did last night is a lot of this remote neural monitoring. I had just internal dialogues and also images being flashed into my mind to do with movement. So for example, turning a key, and I would then wake up that they actually remotely turn my key, my hand, as if I was turning a key. Igen. Igen, jövök mindjárt. Igen, most éppen adjál még egy 5 percet. Sorry, that's my family asking me if I would go for breakfast. And essentially, like, my family cannot handle this. They cannot handle it, so everybody just runs around blocking. And when you start talking to people, I'm not sure if people who work in crisis zones know this, people just go like that and just stare down onto the floor, like a wind-up doll that you can wind up with a key, and it just freezes like that. And this is what it's like talking to my family. I'm not sure if it's mind control. It could be, because several mind control demonstrations have been conducted on my family in this house, but they are all in denial. They all cannot handle this. And this is precisely the sort of like shock state that the Stasi used for their Zersetzungsmethod. Always just pick one person per family, ideally, and then utterly assault them into the ground. And you have to understand the element of sexual arousal in these degenerate people. For them, it's like, like, oh my God, yeah, we can torture her. There's one person we can just maim and mutilate, and they just go harder and harder and harder. And it's essentially this sort of like panting psychopathology you will witness as a victim. And you can already see it if you just go through my comments and you look at the fake accounts. You look at my past Twitter feed, and you look at how I showed, you can just go to the very first tweets where I was begging the press for attention before Richie Allen allowed me to get on his show. And the only person who retweeted a tweet and liked it was an account called The Violinist, which was, I think, opened in June 2016. Now, for such a novel account with barely any followers, to find my account randomly is impossible. It is literally so unlikely statistically. It wasn't by coincidence. It's called The Violinist. Oh, I'm just, playing the violin, begging for my life with the press. And, I've posted that it itself was being followed by 2 accounts. One was this, one with this creepy poem about, oh, my tune is too far away, because actually I'm in Switzerland and I'm complaining about being assaulted by British intelligence in Britain, and that's too far away, and British intelligence abroad, even though it's identical to the case of Philip Kerr versus Attorney General in the High Court in February 2015, where Philip Kerr was fled all the way to Thailand, and British intelligence followed him there and continued harassing him. But you have this one account, Twitter account, mocking me that, oh, my tune is too far away. And then you've got this other account, which was, I think, opened in October 2016. And I'm a frequency being phased in. So it's essentially these degenerate GCHQ accounts mocking you. Or maybe it's MI5, I don't know. But GCHQ certainly has the power to find out to whom these accounts belong. And you have these degenerate Nazi psychopaths mocking a victim and making little poems and, oh, never be afraid because this is just a ride. No, this is how psychopaths think. For them it's a ride, for them it's a game. This isn't a game, this is real life, and you're destroying it. British intelligence and German intelligence are destroying my life and that of my family, and they are torturing me to death. last night they tortured me so hard with this remote neural monitoring, giving me headaches that I just couldn't think. And I'll show you how I have to sleep. I have to use baking trays because we're out of aluminium foil. So I just put down baking trays because I'm being assaulted through that window. So you can see a window there. And essentially, there's a tall house with the windows covered up permanently. I just don't want to film it because I want to keep it private where I live. And where my parents live, that's for the police. But essentially there's like a tall house, and the top floor has got both windows entirely covered, so that you cannot look inside. And that's exactly on level with this room here under the roof. And last night I was tortured so hard. I didn't even know what to do. I had images flashed into my head. I had internal dialogue telling me essentially how they're going to burn out my organs and give me diabetes. I mean, they already were burning my thyroid for weeks on end. And I talked to another whistleblower, and she said, yes, they have completely demolished her thyroid as well. And it's clear why they do that with women. It's because women need their thyroid to produce hormones. So if you want to mutilate a woman, you just, this is, sorry, the other computer. So if you want to mutilate a woman, you demolish her thyroid. So there are all these victims, mostly female, saying the same stuff. And meanwhile, we have these military men running around, putting down these transmitters. And because they're silent, and if I didn't have this, you wouldn't see the attacks. So look, this is now at 0.01 here. This is now at 0.01. I can show you. Oh, sorry, the camera cannot focus. So it can go even lower. That's the one. That's 0.01. This green is 0.02. And then on top of that you have these flashes. And when it goes up to yellow, that, as you just heard, is the targeting beam. And they just keep shooting at my head. They just keep shooting at me. And I was trying to show you that the beam is it's essentially they just cook my nose, and then you just can't do but sneeze. And you can see these flashes here. And oh, sorry, there you see. So I have to go because my family wants me downstairs for breakfast. But this is essentially murder in the 21st century by the intelligence agencies. I am utterly physically at the end. I had so many of these beams, like you have just seen several over like per minute here being fired, shot into my head, and they have been shooting beams like that into my head for now 12 months. Every minute of every day, of day and night. And they are just using these because they're silent and because they pass through glass and brick. And that's all these degenerate psychopaths needed. A silent weapon, and now they're running amok, and they're literally getting sexually off on mutilating us. Sorry, they're just forcing another sneeze. It's like your skin here starts burning, and then you can't help it, and then you're forced to sneeze. And meanwhile, they amuse themselves with that sort of stuff. This is how degenerate they have become, and I need your help. Please, this is Christmas 2016, and I need your help. Please, please, write to whoever you can. You know, get your family to understand that this is happening, because they are going to fire microwave beams into us all, to artificially give us diabetes, to artificially destroy our kidneys so that we pay the pharma industry. That is it. And they've developed these, they are now pumping them into the society, and they are running amok, shooting into people's heads. And whoever is educated enough, like I am, to actually explain to you what is being done and how it's being done, these people are being shot to pieces. And they're targeting my brain, because my brain is what I can give you. So these Nazis have to be stopped, and the intelligence agencies have to be shut down forever. Because they have done the same stuff every decade. The Gestapo in the 1930s and 40s, the Stasi in the 1950s, 60s, 70s and 80s. And then after that, in the 1990s, we already had this explosion in the gang stalking victims, the victims complaining about microwave attacks and the mass surveillance. It's the same program. It was never shut down. And in the early 2000s, we had the same thing. And now in the second decade, of the 21st century, we have the same thing. People being fried with microwave weapons, people being gang stalked, and we've got mass surveillance to take us all out, to identify who the clever ones are, and to assault them and mutilate them and take them down and take them to pieces by these psychopaths. The intelligence agencies are just psychopaths. No one else would ever work there, and they have now been given these weapons. Do you understand how urgent this is? Please, this is Christmas. I can't go on physically anymore. I really can't go on. I'm going to go downstairs now, and I'm trying to get through the day, but I am being mutilated through every window in the house, and sometimes through the walls. So please help me. Please write to your police officers, inform them about the existence of microwave weapons, write to your MP, write to Dr. Otto Lampe, the German ambassador. Please, I need your help. And write to the German police as well and say, what on earth are you doing not investigating these cases? The Bundeskriminalamt refuses to investigate. I have the letter here which they have sent back to me. That's the letter from the Bundeskriminalamt, where they basically said, please do not write to us again. That's the last sentence in German. And they have sent back my physical letter with my signature so that it doesn't appear on my file. So you can see they have stapled back, that's my letter here, telling them about all the deaths from microwave weapons and all the high profile people being attacked everywhere, and telling them about Aronia advertising jammers publicly on the YouTube channel. And they sent this physical letter back, ripping out my staple here, stapling it onto their letter and sending it back. This is the Bundeskriminalamt. This means the head of the Bundeskriminalamt needs to be replaced. This is how deep the corruption is. They just do not investigate, and meanwhile I am dying. I'm being shot to pieces here.